What are your thoughts on recovery and sleep? Like, do you have an issue sleeping? I guess traveling
Yes,
a
three
lot.
children.
Do you take anything to help you sleep better and recover?
No, I don't. I don't. I've never. I mean, I've tried bits and pieces. I've never tried anything that's like not off the shelf sleeping wise, because I've heard horror stories about sleeping tablets and so on. So I've never wanted to go down that route. I've tried all the supplementation options and nothing touch it. None of that makes any difference to me at all. The problem for me, and I know it's a problem, and I know when I'm dieting, I actually had this conversation this morning, which is bizarre. When I start the diet, when I'm not into the deep stages of the diet, I sleep brilliant because I'm not overeating. When I'm bulking, because I never shut down, my body wakes up hungry. I wake up needing the toilet. I wake up needing drink, and I wake up dehydrated. And it constantly, it's working even though my eyes are shut. My body's still awake, so my sleep's broke, which isn't great for recovery. But then when I start the diet process and I'm not eating as much and my body's managing to get through it before I shut down over night time, I definitely sleep better, feel better, and recovery is 100 times better then.
Do you track your sleep in any way?
No, I used to.
Yeah.
I used to, and I used to have one of them rings that told you how deep your sleep was, how good it was, how much you slept. But what's the point? What's the point? Because this is my thing. All right, you're not sleeping well today. Tomorrow, I want you to sleep an extra hour. You try and sleep an extra hour.
It is.
You try. If you can't sleep, you can't sleep. You slept only 80% today. Tomorrow, I want you to sleep 100% because your ring's saying you're not.
Yeah, that's what I've been.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's great. Go on, you try and sleep now. I'm telling you, you're not sleeping. It makes it worse because you know you have to switch off and you're not switching off.
Yeah.
So the whole tracking of sleep and tracking of things, I think every now and again, cool, have a look where you're at. All right, okay. Right, why aren't you sleeping? Okay, I might be drinking too much coffee. I might be dehydrated. I might be this. I might be stressed. I might be, all right, well, make them implicate them changes. Take the fucking ring off because you know you've got a problem. Implement them changes. Do it for 4 or 5 weeks. Put the ring back on. Have a couple of nights with the ring on. See where you're at. Yeah. Otherwise, you start. It's the same as weighing yourself. If you weigh yourself every single day, you end up with an issue.
Yeah, Paul Chek, I don't know if you know him, he said the same thing. He said, look, it's great as sort of like stabilizers, you know, use it to check, but you know, you should be able to be in touch. And sometimes this technology actually stops you from being in touch with your own body.
I agree. I think that's a very sensible thing what he said. Stabilizer, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. You know, give yourself a bit of a checkup and then go and implement the changes. If you haven't implemented the changes, don't think you're going to put the ring back on and make any difference because it's not going to work. But at the same time, just thinking about something is going to make you even worse.
Yeah.
It's going to make it worse without change.
Do you do anything like cold therapy?
Yes. And I'm still trying to think if it's worked. See, every time I've got at home, I've got a great setup. I've got a sauna, I've got an ice bath, I've got red light therapy, I've got pretty much everything you can get hold of. And the thing is for me, the ice bath, I've read very many different papers on it and best ways to do it, best times, best temperatures, best this, best that, movement in there, you should let yourself create a core and all this jargon. And I still can't find a happy space where I do it, get out and I don't end up with like a cold the next day.
Really?
I don't know what it is, whether I'm going in too cold, too long. I love it. I absolutely love how I feel. There's no part of the immersion that I don't enjoy now. At first, it's difficult to get used to, but I enjoyed that initial switch off where you go, comfortable, not comfortable, breathe, comfortable.
Comfortable, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, I like that. And then I've got to the point where I can stay in I could do at 2 degrees, I could do probably 15 minutes with the pump. But then I was reading that that's pointless because you're not getting the benefit from it, because the benefit from it is the rapid change and the shaking.
Oh, right. I didn't know that.
Well, no, nor did I until I mastered the 15 minutes. So
been doing all that for nothing.
Doing it all because what you're doing actually is you're making it easy on your body rather than making it hard.
Okay.
So then what they're saying is you should try and move around more,
Yeah, I
break
heard
the
that,
core,
actually, yeah.
and make it colder
Okay.
by not being, and make it more uncomfortable.
Right.
So the purpose of it is to make it uncomfortable, not easy.
Yeah.
So if you're meditating and you're taking yourself out of it, your body's calm.
Yeah.
So it's not reacting. And part of the benefit is the reaction.
Okay.
So you should try and create the reaction. So I was like, right, okay, that makes sense. So I'm trying to create the reaction. I'm doing like a minute, jumping out, going into the heat, getting the heat, coming back in. And then I'm like, well, this feels great. And then next day, hurt you. Oh, I can't win.
No.
But then that could just be, this is the problem with everything in life. It's like, well, that could just be, there's a common cold going around. My immune system's low because I'm training so hard. I'm dieting, it's low. So it's trying to find out what is it that's causing the problem.
Yeah, and there's a guy called Andrew Huberman who did some research on it, and he was also talking about not doing it after strength training. You can do it after cardio, but not strength. And ideally, if you're doing strength, you do it in the morning as opposed to the afternoon. So there's some timing things as well.
Massively. Do you know what I think the problem is with it? Is that there's not enough research gone in, and it's still such a fresh idea that you're kind of spinning a dice whether it's working or not working. And I think the macho-ness and the ego is what keeps us men doing it. Which
I like the feeling. I like going in just mentally.
But how good
it's
is
like
it?
a tough thing to go in there and come out, and your body.
That side of it's great, but then you're actually being beneficial or counterproductive.
Maybe, yeah.
Because, like you said, you shouldn't do it after weight training. Why shouldn't you do it after weight training? And I know why. I'm just, I'm throwing the question out. Why shouldn't you do it? Oh, so that means that it's not actually helping me recover, or it's actually detrimental to what I've just done. So what was the point of the weight training session?
Yeah.
Well, it felt good. Well, yeah, it felt good, but you might as well have not done one or the other.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem with it at the moment. And even the guys who are extremely knowledgeable and put a lot of content out about it, even that's based more on experience than science. And it's, you can say there's science to a degree, but it takes years to create proper data. And because it's so new, we're stabbing in the dark still. I do think it works. I do think there's a place for it. I do think it's something that makes sense. I just think it needs more data.
Yeah, to know exactly who and when and why.
Who, when, why, where, age, environments, sleep patterns, everything, stress levels, a whole lot. But there is definitely something that works with it.
Just don't
know what it is.
What about, I saw you did some shockwave therapy. What's that then?
Oh, that's brilliant. Have you ever done that?
I haven't, no.
Ever so good. I didn't believe in it at all. I thought it was a load of nonsense. I really did. I just couldn't get my head around it. And I still, to this day, don't understand why any physio in the world would want to use it, because it's taking them out of a job.
Really?
Well, I had a problem with my shoulder for 3-4 years. And it comes from my operation I had on my stomach. I had emergency operation, life-saving surgery, and they went straight through my obliques and my abdominal wall. And obviously when they did that, I was 24, 25 stone. And going through, like, the surgeon came out and said he'd never, ever, ever had to cut through someone the way he cut through me, because he couldn't get through the muscle.
Wow.
And I don't mean that in like, oh, look at me, I'm strong, because it was not a good thing. He just absolutely chiseled the hell out of my muscles to get into my intestines. Now, the problem with that is it left the scar tissue after the recovery on that was horrendous. So that pulled all of my alignment out. So, when they went through my stomach, through my obliques, which changed the alignment of my spine and my shoulders. Being stupid, I was told 6 months to get back. I was in the gym 4 weeks later, which in hindsight was stupid. So obviously I created these muscle imbalances to be able to still work. And that over time created a problem, because if you're not balanced correctly when you're trying to lift big weights, you're very vulnerable. And I was training with Eddie Hall, and I remember it to this day. It was the worst thing I ever did was listen to him, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he passed me these 60-kilo dumbbells for shoulder press, and he'd just done about 20 reps with them. I was like, yeah, I'll be all right. I can get 3 or 4 out. And I just remember feeling this pop, like a flip. I was all, that hurt. I put it down. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Carried on training, sore. Next day, my whole shoulder had dropped. I don't know what had happened. Still don't know what happened to this day. We had scans, nothing wrong with it. But I've had a problem with it ever since. I've seen some great physios. Not one of them could fix it. And then I had this shockwave treatment, and 6 or 7 treatments in, I'm like,
really?
Loads better. I don't know what it does. I have no idea what it does. I mean, the guy half explained it to me, and it's the bounce effect of this and that. And you don't really feel anything. I mean, a little bit of a discomfort, but that's it. But, you know, I could do it to you, the treatment, and I've got no idea what I'm doing. And to me, it's like, wow, that's just lost you a job. Because before it would have been a physio, would have had to treat you, would have had to have been trained up in it. Now it just holds this machine over you, and you're fixed. And I know it was Eddie Hall actually who told me about the Shockwave, and then one of my other friends who's a sportsman, he was raving about the Shockwave. And I'm not saying it fixes every single issue, but it definitely helped me in my shoulder. Right. Huge amounts. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that's worth looking into for injuries, 100%.